Well, thank you. I don't know how anyone expects me to say anything coherent after all this wine, but I'll try. I want to welcome everybody tonight and thank you for helping us celebrate this very special occasion. And I also want to especially thank Jerry for that fantastic ceremony. So. Yeah. I think Jerry has a new vocation once he retires. I think they've already tried to get him to start working and doing that. So, um, anyway, I've had the opportunity to spend a lot of time with Jessica and Brandon over the last couple years, and there's a few things that I notice every time I'm around them, and it's kind of the theme, I think, tonight. The first thing I notice is there's always a lot of laughter, and obviously that's a fantastic quality in a relationship. It's probably one of the most important qualities. And, and it's not surprising that there's a lot of laughter. Brandon is, I think, a pretty funny guy. The jury's been out for a while, but I think he's pretty funny. I think most of his material is funny. So, but the second thing I've noticed is that Jessica laughs at all of his stuff. So, and to me that's a sign of true love. So, yeah, I think that's a good thing, and I think that came out in the ceremony. They talked a lot about that. And lastly. I've noticed when they're together that Jessica is the happiest I've ever seen her, and that makes me happy, and it makes me thankful that these two wonderful people have found each other. So my toast to Jessica and Brandon is this: may all the may this laughter be with you always. May it grow and strengthen your love. This is an emotional day. And may it help to celebrate all the great times yet to come. Cheers.
Guys, let's clap it up for that speech one more time, guys. Let's clap it up. I always get touched when dads are crying. And I'm like, dang it. Like, now I'm on my feels and stuff. If I could have the father of the groom, please. Father of the groom. Oh, yeah. Come on, let's clap it up for him, guys. Let's clap it up.
Thank you. Oh, Silver Fox. Lost the tie, lost the jacket. Comfortable now, right? First of all, first of all, they say in show business that you should never follow a child act or an animal act because you can never compare. And I'm going to add a corollary to that at a wedding you should never follow the father of the bride because it's so hard to compare. Craig, thank you so much for making my job so hard. I'm going to read this because I really don't want to screw it up. So I have several toasts I'd like to make. And first of all, thank you all for joining us today. During the ceremony, we spoke briefly about the travels and the journeys of Jessica and Brandon. And you know that as each of us journeys through our lives, we intersect with the lives of others. And at special times like today, we come together to celebrate the bonding of two journeys, the journeys of Jessica and Brandon. So for my first toast, I'd like to thank all of you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing this milestone with Jessica and Brandon and their families. And most of all, thank you for your friendship and your support. Here's to all of you. Thank you, everyone. Can you? Thanks. Stay here with me. All right. When Janetta was first pregnant with Brandon, we had not yet chosen a name. I liked the name It. but that seemed a little uncaring. And so several of my close friends decided that, that Mojo was more, and I'm thinking, Mojo was more appropriate, and the name stuck for a while. So now we have Janetta pregnant with Mojo, and I'm thinking that Mojo needs a godfather. But each of my friends has pretty significant character flaws, which kind of prevents any of them from reaching godfather status. So I decided that instead of one godfather, Mojo was going to have a group of God stooges. No reason to raise the bar too high. And now, 30-something years later, I'm honored that his God stooges and their backups are here to celebrate with us. Thank you, guys. Thank you for your friendship, for your love over all these years. You are and always will be family. You may not know that Brandon was a preemie baby. He was born a month premature. Jessica and her twin sister, Rachel, were also preemies, separate journeys, starting on separate sides of the continent, but already with something in common. So let me share a story with you. The wonder and joy that Janetta and I first felt during Brandon's birth was quickly replaced with other searing emotions. His lungs had not fully developed, and he was in distress. He needed medical intervention and was rushed to newborn intensive care. Over the course of the next few days, an infection set in. He was fighting, but he was so small, less than 5 pounds. It was a helpless feeling, watching him struggle to breathe. He was isolated in an incubator, attached to tubes, desperately needing the touch of his mother. Indelible, searing memories, including the toughest moment of my life, when the doctor met with Janetta and me, not the best bedside manner, when he pointedly said, "Your baby is very sick, but I'm not going to let him die." And he kept his word. So why do I tell you this story on such a joyous day as today? It's to remind each of us of the many people whose lives interacted with ours during our journeys. People whose actions or words or guidance or promises helped us overcome and persevere and rise above. Whether they were fleeting moments or lifelong relationships, they may not fully understand how important they are to us. And today, as we celebrate the warmth and the happiness of Jessica and Brandon and their love for each other, we are all thankful to those in our lives who have made it possible for us to share in this celebration. I would like to offer a toast to those doctors and nurses, teachers and coaches, friends and family. Thank you all. Brandon, I know it's hard to believe, but Brandon was a pretty cute little kid. For a Halloween, Janetta would dress him up in outfits. She would sew outfits for him. One year he was a clown, another year an Ewok from Star Wars. But what he really wanted to be, was an F-14 pilot like Tom Cruise in Top Gun. Here it comes, Brandon. Yeah, you know this one's coming. So one year at Christmas, he wanted just one present, an F-14 Tomcat, and not a plastic model of the type that little kids pretend to fly around. No, he wanted a real F-14. So when Christmas Day finally got here, he rushed to the window, fully expecting to see an F-14 in the driveway. Oh, the disappointment. Storming to his room and slamming the door. When we tried to explain to him that F-14s are really expensive and very hard to learn how to fly, he retorted that he was sure they came with a full set of instructions. That was one of the many times when I chose to walk away rather than argue with him. Which brings us to those wonderful teenage years. Brandon was perfect. He was well-mannered. He was calm. He was rational. He was a straight-A student. He loved school, and he respected his elders. Oh, wait, that was one of the neighbor's kids. You were a joy, and you still are a joy, and you still are a joy. Brandon was just a few miles south of perfect. He was closer to the it that I originally wanted to name him at times. So I believe that children are tethered to their parents with an invisible bungee cord. And the teenage Brandon wanted to see how far he could stretch the cord. There were times when I was sure it would break, and he would go cartwheeling into the void, never to return. But he was smart, and he figured out exactly how far he could go without reaching the point of no return. When he was 18, and he was off in college, he must have decided that after all these years, the bungee cord was fraying and he better not test it any further. He started coming back, shedding the it persona, and becoming the perfect son. Well, maybe not right away, but eventually. So now I'd like to offer a toast to all those bungee cords that bind children to their parents. May you always be strong. May you never break, no matter how frayed you get, always returning the child to their parents' love. A few weeks ago, Brandon and Jessica were sharing their engagement photos with Janetta and me. And as we looked at picture after picture, it became obvious that the photographer was able to capture more than images. And anybody who's a photographer here knows that that's really the key, to be able to capture something beyond what's just visible. And what the photographer was able to capture was an overarching emotion. These two people really love each other. I mean, really, really love each other. It's so obvious. Their smiles, the way they touch, the way that they look at each other. They've come a long way from the tiny preemies to become this wonderful couple, and we're all so happy for them. Jessica, your compassion, your grace, your beauty, your quiet confidence, your intelligence, your wonderful sense of humor, and your love. These are all treasures that you bring to our family, and we're so privileged to call you our daughter-in-law. Brandon, you know that I love you unconditionally. Well, maybe not unconditionally, but pretty close. What you may not know is how proud Janetta and I are of you and of the man that you've become. We're deeply impressed. It's obviously a testament to great parenting by your mother. Brandon and Jessica, today's ceremony is an external declaration of your love. All of us present here know how thoroughly and deeply you love each other, how you help each other through the daily struggles of your journeys, how deeply you support and believe in each other, how much you cherish each other, how forgiving you are of the imperfections, how tender you touch, how playful you are, and how deeply committed you are to each other. These are the binding forces of your relationship. For my final toast, I'm going to ask everyone to stand. If you would just hold that for me. Okay, stand right here. Okay. Brandon and Jessica, may your journey be overflowing with love that you have for each other. May the obstacles in your path diminish in the presence of your love. May you catch the perfect wave, only to find that the next one is even better. May your smiles and your laughter warm your days and uplift all those around you. May you live long and grow more in love with each other every day. Here's to you. To you.
All right. Whew, there's more of you than I remember. Like this. Excuse me. Before I start things off, I just want to say, Jess, you look absolutely beautiful tonight. Yeah. And Brandon, yeah, you look all right. I find a little comfort knowing that I'm not the only one tonight who's feeling a little apprehensive and queasy. But Jess, it's too late now. Good evening, everyone. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Kevin, and I am Brandon's best man. And we've been friends for over 25 years. But I will get more into that later. First, I'd like to start off with a few thank yous. For those of you who don't know Brandon, I'd like to thank you for coming out to celebrate this very special occasion. It's amazing how far you people will travel for some free booze. For those of you that do know Brandon, I apologize and thank you for showing up anyways. I'd like to thank Jess's parents, wherever you are out here, for raising such a wonderful woman. Brandon, I think you've done extremely well for yourself. You've done really well for yourself. You found a woman who is fun, who is loving, who is intelligent, and is a beautiful woman in Jessica. And Jess, well, you've got Brandon, and at least he's really loyal. And congrats to Brandon actually on marrying up, buddy. I knew you could do it. Yeah, way to go. I'd also like to thank Brandon's parents. You guys were like a second family to me growing up. And as for Brandon, well, you did the best you could, and no one really blames you. Now, before I get into my customary character assassination of the groom, I'd like to offer a little marriage advice as a married man. Here's my 5 rules for a happy marriage. Number 1, happy wife, happy life. I know it sounds kind of cliche, but it's a saying for a reason, so follow it. Number 2, if you're wrong and you shut up, you're a wise man. If you're right and you shut up, you're a married man. Learn it. Number 3, there are 5 magic words for a successful marriage. So listen closely, Brandon. I'm sorry. It's my fault. Number 4, never focus too much on who wears the pants in a relationship. These things typically work better if nobody's wearing pants. Yeah. Yeah. Last but not least, number 5. This one's kind of a serious one, but never take each other for granted. Remember that a strong marriage rarely has 2 people that are strong at the same time. It's usually a husband and a wife taking turns being strong for each other in moments where the other feels weak. Just always try to be there for each other with love and support. Now on to the groom and my best friend, Brandon Price. First off, I'd like to thank you for choosing me to be your best man. I'm truly honored, and I hope that I make you proud. So before I get into embarrassing you, I guess that I'll say a few nice things first. Oh, where do I start? Brandon and I have been friends since the second grade. He was new to the area and just moved into my school. I don't really remember this, but apparently he came up to me at recess one day and asked me where the bathrooms were. I pointed him to the ladies' room, and we've been best friends ever since. It's a true story. It's a true story. The truth is, the truth is, I can't really pinpoint the exact moment we became friends. It was not love at first sight. I guess that he kind of just slowly grew on me like a mold or a fungus. What I can tell you is the exact moment that I gained a real respect and admiration for my friend Brandon. Fast forward to the third grade, we were celebrating my 8th birthday. At the time, I had a huge trampoline in my backyard, and there were way too many kids bouncing on it. Someone was bound to get hurt. Well, that someone was Brandon. He was on his way down as someone else was on their way up. Their heads collided, and he got the worst of it, biting straight through his lip. Anyways, to make a long story short, Brandon had to go to the hospital, and we all figured that was the last we'd be seeing of Brandon for that day. Lo and behold, true to Brandon's fighter spirit, a few hours later, Brandon, fresh from the ER with a swollen lip full of stitches, came back to the party. That was the first time I saw my friend's remarkable display of courage, determination, and loyalty. Most kids would have bailed after an incident like that, but not Brandon. He came back. You see, excuse me. You see, Brandon is by far one of my most successful friends. He has a great job, drives a nice car, owns his own house, and has now added finding his soulmate to his list of accomplishments in life. I'm not telling you this to brag for him. My point is that none of this was handed to him. Nothing has ever come easy to Brandon, and he has had to work hard for every one of his accomplishments in life. I mean this as a compliment. Brandon isn't a natural at much of anything. All of his successes, academic and financial, all of his talents, guitar, surfing, snowboarding, he's had to work his tail off for. He has turned himself into a man you can truly admire, full of courage, determination, and perseverance. I'm so happy that you have found a woman that recognizes all these amazing traits in you. All these traits that make me so proud to call you my friend and my brother. And I love you, man. I really do. Now on to the part where I get to drag up embarrassing stories from Brandon's past. I know it's a time-honored tradition, but I promised I wouldn't embarrass him too much in front of mixed company. And he paid me, so. So I'm not going to stand here and share the time that Brandon chased a deer through the woods in the middle of the night. I'm not going to tell you about the time Brandon thought he could impress girls by using a horrible fake New York accent. Hey, yo, it failed miserably. I wouldn't dare tell you of the time we went to Cancun and Brandon passed out on a lawn chair without any sunscreen on the very first day and horribly sunburned himself. Armpits and everything, yes. I don't think he showered for the rest of the week, to be honest. Ouch. The truth is that I could tell you 100 stories about how we were knucklehead kids. But by incriminating Brandon, I'd mostly be incriminating myself as well. We've been through it all. The good, me, the bad, us, and the ugly. You know who you are. I am so honored to call you my friend and to be a part of this next milestone in your life. And I wish you and Jess nothing but the best. For the record, Jess, Not that it really much matters at this point, but you had my seal of approval from the first moment that I met you. I see the joy that you bring to Brandon's life, and you're a wonderful woman that far surpasses any relationship criteria that I had set for my friend. But to be fair, the criteria was, are you a living, breathing woman that likes Brandon? So you passed. You passed. Okay, I've droned on long enough, so let's wrap this up with a toast. Thank you. Everybody raise your glasses, please. Ladies and gentlemen, Brandon and Jess, the greatest happiness in life is to love and to be loved. May you two have a lifetime of happiness. To Brandon and Jess Price. Thank you, guys. I truly love you both.
Hi, everyone. I hope you all are having fun tonight. What a beautiful day this has been. The ceremony was absolutely beautiful. The venue is amazing. And this evening is no doubt going to be amazing as well. I'm not sure who the bride is here tonight, Brandon or Jess, but they have done an amazing job making this day special and memorable. I think I know most of you here, but those of you who have not met, my name is Rachel and I am the bride's sister. I'm decided I'm not going to try to be funny because I can't follow the act of Brandon or his dad or anyone, but I'm going to keep it short and sweet and focus on how special these two are and how today was the perfect way to celebrate them as they become husband and wife. I am extremely lucky to have Jess in my life, and I'm thankful every day for her for reasons I can't even go into tonight. And I always have felt like a big sister to her. So, Jess, I apologize for that. And thank you for allowing me to be your big sister at times, even though I am only 5 minutes older. It's hard to pick just a few great memories that we've shared together, as we have spent every day together for the first 18 years of our life, shared a womb, shared rooms, and have pretty much always lived within 20 minutes of each other. Jess was my best friend since day one. Growing up, we did everything together. I look back at our childhood, and I smile at the memories. I remember spending the night in each other's rooms, talking until we fell asleep. I remember watching Saved by the Bell after we did our homework at the dining room table. I smile as I remember how we talked about our New Kids on the Block Crush of the Week and went to our first concert, our Billy Ray Cyrus concert, roller skated in the garage to Tiffany, performed gymnastics and dance routines in the front yard, and memorized rap lyrics to Tupac, Snoop Dogg, and Salt and Peppa, hitting pause and rewind on the tape player over and over again. Excuse me. We were the tomboys of the neighborhood, having weekend-long Nintendo tournaments, riding go-karts, riding bikes, playing basketball, and playing in the dirt lot next to our house. But my favorite childhood memory is how, in the summertime, we'd camp out in the front of the TV in our living room with our purple sleeping bags. We'd bring out all of our games to play, and we'd stay up all night watching movies, playing, and laughing together. As you can imagine, we didn't always get along, but we were best friends, partners in crime. There are so many more memories that I could share about how high school went, and funny stories in college, and even the wonderful memories we continue to make together. But you know how that goes. If you don't know us very well, the one thing you should realize is that we are stronger together. When Jess moved across the country to San Diego, it was quite possibly the hardest thing I had to go through in my life. We went from living 10 miles apart from each other to 3,000 miles apart. After trying long distance for about 2 years and having a difficult time being apart, I eventually moved out to San Diego because I needed my sister. I needed her loyal friendship, her unconditional support, and didn't want to miss out on any more memories together. Jess, I look up to you in so many ways. You are determined in your career, in everything you do. You have the drive to want to learn and try new things. You are stronger than you know. You are my forever fashion advisor. You are my confidant, my other half, my beautiful sister and best friend. And you continue to be my partner in crime. As we have gotten older, I realize that I also look to you as my big sister as well. And you make a gorgeous bride. You deserve this moment and much more, and I wish you all the happiness in the world. And then there's Brandon. I remember the first day they met, when Jess and I mistakenly showed up 2 hours early for his Memorial Day barbecue. We had never met Brandon before and were meeting a mutual friend at his house who we thought was already there. Well, it turns out no one was there but Brandon. Brandon was so welcoming, inviting us in to hang out, even though he didn't have a clue who we were. We sat across from him as if interviewing him. Well, he passed. They started dating shortly after, and I knew he was the one for her. Brandon has a way of energizing the room, stealing the show, and leaving everyone in fits of laughter. From his panda bear, and stick jokes, to washing a truck in Daisy Dukes, hiring a singing telegram to show up at his friend's date, to his burrito emergency. I won't go into details here. He has kept her laughing and on her toes. You all know what I'm talking about. Despite his funny, outrageous stories, Brandon is also very thoughtful and a genuine person and has the ability to make everyone feel included and welcome. He clearly loves Jess, his family and hers, and he cares deeply about his friends. These two truly are on the same page, and there are many reasons why they fit well together. First, don't they make a gorgeous couple? They enjoy learning from each other, whether it's getting Brandon to take a cooking class or teaching Jess how to surf. They also share many interests. I have seen how Brandon's humor and sincerity has brightened Jess's life in every way. I have never seen her look at someone the way she looks at you, Brandon, full of life, love, excitement, and hope. I love you both so much, and I'm so happy to have you both in my life. I remember when Jess and I were younger, we used to save our pennies and ask our mom if we could go buy a baby brother. Well, now I have a brother in Brandon, and there's no turning back. Finally, I would like to thank Jess and Brandon, my parents and his, for such a beautiful wedding weekend. It is breathtaking and stunning, and the perfect way to celebrate these two. And thank you to all the guests who are here to celebrate this couple and make this weekend unforgettable. So, to Jess and Brandon. Here's to right now. You're surrounded by your loved ones, and all are wishing you well as you create a brand new chapter in the story that's yours to tell. We talk about the memories you have yet to make together and the moments that you've shared to be carried with you forever. But take this time to live today as your marriage begins. Look around and soak it up, the moment we are in. For this is where the magic starts. When you say your vows, you pledge to spend your lives as one because of the love you feel now. So yes, here's to a future that is warm and bright and clear, but more than that, here's to right now and what it means to be here. Cheers.
I got a lot to say here on this sheet of paper, but first I'm going to go off script for a second here. I'll start with Craig. That was an amazing speech. Thank you so much. Absolutely honored to be a part of your family now. Dad, what can I say? Beautiful at the same time. The F-16 that I wanted, it was an F-14, okay. So a little bit less expensive than an F-16. And then I didn't want a full-size version. I wanted a miniature version, okay, with instructions. So you let me down on that one. Really dropped the ball. Fake news. Kevin, beautiful speech. I'll get into that in a second here, but I really loved the part that you said, I'm not going to tell you about this story, and then you tell them about this story. I'm not going to tell you about how he rollerbladed for 5 years and he was a professional rollerblader, but he rollerbladed for 5 years and was borderline professional rollerblader. So, yeah. Yeah, he could have. But thank you for keeping it somewhat surface level. I appreciate it. We'll get into that in a second. And Rachel, wow. That was tear-jerking, to say the least. Thanks for the burrito story illusion. For those that know it and for those that don't, you're never going to know it. I'm very lucky to have this one. Let's just put it that way. All right. I'll go to the script in a second here, but I do want to say that leading up to this wedding, everybody kept coming up to Jess and I, and they kept going, are you guys nervous? Are you guys okay? Are you guys ready? Are you anxious? And there was never a moment of nerves for me to go up there and marry her. I mean, to lock this one in and be so lucky. Like, I'm running to the altar, right? What was somewhat nerve-wracking was being up there in front of 109 people of our closest friends, our closest family members, and having all the attention on us. So that is the only part that caused anxiety for me. I think that Jess and I both felt that same way. But I want to thank each and every one of you for joining us here tonight. You're all an integral part of our lives in a variety of capacities, but we're both so lucky to have this kind of love and support from our family and our friends. Mom, Dad, Tony, Bruce, Craig, and Diana, we're beyond grateful to have such amazing parents. You have shaped us into who we are today with your advice, your wisdom, and your guidance. Thank you for being such outstanding role models and for your unwavering support and for your unconditional love. Rachel and Nathan, Steph and Mitchell, thank you for your continual friendship. It's an absolute honor to be able to call each of you a brother and sister and to have you by our sides. And thank you, more so, for never asking Jess what she was doing with me. Although I'm sure a number of us have been asking ourselves that question tonight. To our bridal parties, ladies, where are the ladies? Over here. Ladies, you look absolutely gorgeous tonight. And guys, no. You can put lipstick on a pig, but you end up in the trough, or as the trough might be known tonight, the open bar. But seriously, we'd also like to thank each of you for your support as well. You guys have been there for us through thick and thin. You've seen us at our best and me at my worst. And you've always stood by us without judgment or bias. You're each a part of our family, a family that extends beyond blood but bleeds together. Yeah, it sounds great. It sounded better on paper, okay? I think so, right? I'm glad I'm not on mic on that one. Okay. Kevin, you took it easy on the speech tonight. I guess most of our stories either couldn't be said in this situation or most likely probably couldn't be remembered. Probably both. You know, I have a line in here that says, thanks for all the nice things you said and thanks for not telling everybody that I paid you to say them. But you did tell them that I paid you to say them. So that line's out the window. You're not getting tipped. But more so, man. I want to thank you for always having my back. You were the first to stand next to me and the first one to go to battle with me. And as you know, I'm an only child, but I've been absolutely honored to have you as my brother for the past 25 years.
Right back at you. I love you, man.
And lastly, but obviously most importantly, I want to thank my bride. You worked tirelessly through every stage of this planning process to make today's dream become a reality. Okay. From the napkins to the florals, the chandeliers to the seating, the layout is perfect. Although nothing could ever be as perfect as you look today. I'm so lucky to have you by my side. Anyways, you guys have all heard enough of the mushy stuff and the butterflies and the love tonight. We hope that you all enjoy yourselves, and thank you again for joining us in this special moment of our lives. Party on, Wayne.
So I can't beat that, but I definitely echo everything he said. We are truly just grateful and appreciative to have all you here travel all this way to Santa Barbara to share in this special moment with us. And we are just so blessed to have you all in our lives. And we just want you all to enjoy yourselves and be on vacation and relax and cheers.